Hello and welcome to English Phrases Hub podcast, the podcast where we tackle advanced English topics to boost your professional fluency. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jack, and today we've got a fun and incredibly useful episode lined up. 50 business idioms you need to know for advanced English.
Why 50 idioms? Well, if you've ever been in a meeting and someone said, "Let's cut to the chase," or "keep me in the loop," and you found yourself puzzled, you're not alone.
Business English is full of these colorful phrases that can leave even fluent speakers scratching their heads.
In this episode, we're going to demystify 50 of the most essential idioms that you'll hear in offices, boardrooms, and even those casual coffee machine chats all the time.
And we've organized them into handy categories, from money talk and finance to office teamwork to strategy and more, so you can grasp them in context.
By the end of the show, you'll not only understand what "the ball is in your court" means, but you'll also feel confident using these phrases in your own conversations at work.
So grab a cup of coffee or tea and let's dive in.
Oh, and don't worry about memorizing everything at once. We'll review key points, and you can always revisit the episode.
Also, check out the worksheet linked in the description. It includes a full list of all 50 idioms, real business examples, practice exercises to help you understand and use them, discussion and writing tasks to build your confidence.
Ready? Let's get down to business. See what I did there?
Love it. Let's go.
Our first set of idioms is all about money, because in business, well, we talk about money a lot.
Yep, and understanding finance idioms will really help you follow discussions about profits, costs, and investments.
So, let's jump in with our money matters. First up, break even. This is what every business hopes to do in the beginning. To break even means to neither make a profit nor incur a loss.
In other words, you've made back what you spent. For example, after 6 months, our new store is finally breaking even.
We're not losing money anymore. Yay! But we're also not making a profit yet. Breaking even is often the first big milestone for a startup.
Next, in the red versus in the black. These color idioms come straight from accounting.
Being in the red means you're losing money. Think of red ink showing negative balances.
And being in the black means you're profitable, back when accountants used black ink for positive numbers.
So, if someone says, "We've been in the red all year," that's a warning sign. The company has been operating at a loss.
On the bright side, last quarter we got back in the black. Now they're profitable again.
Bottom line, you definitely want your business in the black, not in the red.
How about cash cow, one of my favorites?
No actual cows involved, promise. A cash cow is a product or service that consistently makes a lot of money.
It's like the steady cow you can keep milking profits from. For example, our software subscription is a real cash cow. It brings in steady revenue every month.
Companies love cash cows because they can rely on them financially and often use that income to fund new innovations or cover other losses. Now, deep pockets. If a person or a business has deep pockets, it means they have a lot of money or financial resources.
Just imagine reaching deep into your pocket and finding endless cash. You might hear, "To launch this project, we need an investor with deep pockets."
It usually implies the project is costly and requires someone rich or a company that can spend big.
If someone has deep pockets, they can afford big investments or can survive financial losses more easily.
Next up, a startup favorite, burn rate.
Burn rate is how quickly a company is spending its cash, usually measured per month.
Think of cash as fuel. How fast are you burning through it? For example, our burn rate is $50K a month.
That means every month the company is spending that amount, often venture capital money, to keep going.
It's crucial for businesses to watch their burn rate because if you burn money faster than you make revenue, well, you'll run out of fuel.
I like to say, at our current burn rate, we have 6 months of runway left, unless we start making more sales or cut costs.
And finally, for this set, crunch the numbers. When you crunch the numbers, you're doing the math or analyzing data in detail.
It's what finance teams and analysts do all the time.
For example, let's crunch the numbers on our Q4 expenses.
That means let's dig into the spreadsheets and calculate exactly what happened.
I like this idiom because you can almost picture chewing through a big pile of numbers.
It's a fun, casual way to say, do the calculations. Sounds much cooler, right?
Definitely cooler. All right, that's our first set, money and finance idioms.
And there are plenty more to come. Ready for the next category?
Let's go. Quick check-in, still with us?
We've covered a few heavy finance terms, but hang in there, these are super useful.
Let's do a couple more money idioms. Ready? First up, bang for your buck. Everyone wants more bang for their buck.
This means getting good value for the money you spend. Literally, a big bang result for your buck dollar.
If I say, we chose online ads because they give us more bang for our buck, I mean they have better results for the cost compared to other methods.
It's an idiom you'll hear often when people are talking about maximizing value, or ROI, return on investment.
And really, who doesn't want more value, right?
Next, cost an arm and a leg.
If something costs an arm and a leg, it's ridiculously expensive.
Of course, we're not paying with limbs. It's a humorous way to exaggerate price.
For example, the new office chairs cost an arm and a leg, meaning they were very pricey.
You'll often hear this idiom used in a complaining or joking way about high prices.
Like, don't break that laptop, it cost me an arm and a leg.
It really adds color to your language instead of just saying very expensive.
Now, foot the bill. Here's one where foot isn't about your foot at all.
To foot the bill means to pay for something, especially if it's a large expense.
Often, it's used when one party takes on the cost for others. For example, the company will foot the bill for the team dinner.
That means the company pays the whole check.
I remember being relieved when a vendor said, "Don't worry, we'll foot the bill for your hotel during the conference."
Always nice when someone else covers the expense.
And finally, the bottom line.
You hear this one a lot in business. Literally, the bottom line is the last line of a financial statement, showing net profit or loss.
Idiomatically, it means the final result or the most important point.
In business meetings, someone might cut to the chase and say, the bottom line is, we need to increase market share by 5%.
Or financially, the bottom line for 2025 is a profit of $2 million.
It's that ultimate summary. What's the outcome? What's the core point?
You'll sound very business savvy using bottom line. For example, the bottom line is, if we don't improve quality, we'll lose customers.
Clear and direct.
And that's the bottom line for our finance idiom segment.
I think we've broken even on time, don't you?
Let's do a quick recap. You learned how to talk about profit and loss, in the red, in the black, describe moneymakers, cash cow, and even complain about high costs, cost an arm and a leg.
And remember, next time someone at work says, let's crunch the numbers, you'll know they're not planning a weird snack. They just mean doing math.
Coming up next, we'll move from money to the day-to-day world of work and productivity idioms. Welcome back. Now that our financial ducks are in a row, it's time for productivity and work idioms.
These are the kinds of phrases you'll hear when people talk about workloads, deadlines, and getting things done. Or, sometimes, not getting them done.
Let's jump right in. First up, cut corners.
No, we're not literally cutting anything.
To cut corners means to do something the easiest or cheapest way, often at the expense of quality.
Picture taking a shortcut across a corner instead of going around it. You save time, but maybe you step on someone's lawn.
In business, if someone says, "Don't cut corners on this project," they mean don't skip necessary steps, even if you're in a hurry.
It's often used in the negative. We can't cut corners when it comes to safety testing.
I learned early in my career, cutting corners might save time now, but cause bigger problems later.
Next, hit the ground running.
This is what every manager hopes a new hire will do.
To hit the ground running means to start a task or new job with immediate energy and progress without needing much ramp up.
Imagine parachuting in, and as soon as you land, you're already sprinting.
For example, our new marketing director hit the ground running. She's already launched 2 campaigns in her first week.
It's high praise for someone who's proactive and quick to get started.
Even if you start a Monday super productive, you can say you hit the ground running that day.
Next, burn the midnight oil.
If you've ever stayed up very late working or studying, you've burned the midnight oil.
This comes from the old days of oil lamps. If you're burning oil at midnight, you're working late into the night.
We had to burn the midnight oil to get that client proposal done on time.
It often implies hard work and sacrificing sleep.
I'll admit, I burn the midnight oil a bit too often when editing this podcast. Not the best habit. Don't forget to rest, too.
Next up, run out of steam.
Think of an old steam-powered train slowing down when it's low on coal.
To run out of steam means to lose momentum or energy.
In a project, after the product launch, the team ran out of steam. Everyone was exhausted from the crunch.
You can use it for people or initiatives that start strong, then tire out.
Watch for it in your own schedule. If you feel like you're running out of steam at 3 p.m., maybe it's time for a coffee break.
Now, on the back burner.
When you move a pot to the back burner, you're not focusing on it right now.
Similarly, if something is on the back burner, it's postponed or set aside in priority.
Our plans to expand the office are on the back burner until next year.
It's a polite way to say, "not now."
I use it all the time. Great idea, but let's put it on the back burner for now.
Next idiom, go the extra mile.
When you go the extra mile, you're putting in more effort than is required, often to achieve excellence.
Our support team goes the extra mile to help every client.
It's always positive. It implies dedication and great service.
Think of an employee who doesn't just meet expectations, they exceed them. They definitely go the extra mile.
Here's a fun one. Bite off more than you can chew.
Ever take a huge bite of a burger and realize, uh-oh, too much?
In work terms, if you bite off more than you can chew, you've taken on more than you can realistically handle.
By volunteering for 3 projects at once, I bit off more than I could chew.
It's a friendly way to acknowledge overload.
You could even tell a colleague, "Looks like you've bitten off a bit more than you can chew. Need any help?" Just say it supportively.
Get the ball rolling.
We touched on this earlier, but let's revisit it in context.
To get the ball rolling means to start something, especially a big project.
Okay, team, let's get the ball rolling on the new campaign.
If no one's starting a meeting, someone might say, "Shall I get the ball rolling?"
It comes from games or sports. Once the ball is rolling, momentum builds.
Speaking of starting, sometimes getting started is the hardest part. But once you do, momentum's on your side.
Next, get down to business.
I used this in the intro, and it's worth explaining.
To get down to business means to stop unrelated talk and start focusing on the important task.
A meeting leader might say, "All right, everyone, let's get down to business."
You can even say it to yourself. I need to get down to business and finish this report.
It's a great idiom to signal time to focus.
And last for this set, all hands on deck.
This one comes from sailing ships. When there's important work, the captain calls all hands on deck.
In the office, it's all hands on deck for the product launch.
It means everyone is required to pitch in, no exceptions.
It creates a sense of camaraderie. We're all in it together.
Hopefully not because the ship is sinking, but because the project is so important, every person's effort is needed to succeed.
Whew, we've been productive with these idioms about work.
We talked about not cutting corners, sometimes burning the midnight oil, and hopefully not biting off more than we can chew.
If you remember one thing, when your boss says all hands on deck, it's time to rally the team and give that extra mile.
Got it. Now let's move from individual productivity to how we interact with others.
Coming up next, idioms about communication and teamwork. Basically, how we work together. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Business English Break Room. In this segment, we're focusing on idioms that revolve around communication, teamwork, and office dynamics.
These are phrases you'll often hear in meetings, emails, or while collaborating with colleagues. They help describe how we share information and how we work, or sometimes don't work, together.
Let's get on the same page, by starting with that very idiom, on the same page. If you and I are on the same page, it means we have a shared understanding or agreement about something.
Think of reading a book. Being on the same page means we're literally in the same spot in the story.
In business, let's ensure the whole team is on the same page about the project goals.
I use this phrase a lot when recapping a meeting. Just to make sure we're on the same page, the deadline is next Friday, and each of us will deliver our parts by Wednesday.
It's all about alignment. You might ask a client, are we on the same page with these requirements? To confirm you haven't misunderstood each other.
It's an excellent idiom for avoiding miscommunication. Next, in the loop. To be in the loop means to be included in information sharing, essentially to be kept informed of the latest updates.
Thanks for keeping me in the loop on the budget changes. That's something you might tell a colleague who updates you.
Conversely, I felt out of the loop on that decision, means you weren't informed and felt a bit lost.
In teamwork, no one likes to be out of the loop.
So if you're leading a project, remember to CC people on emails or have update meetings to keep everyone in the loop.
That fosters trust and smooth collaboration. Now, touch base.
We had this one in the list earlier. To touch base means to briefly contact someone to update or check in.
It's often used when scheduling informal updates. Let's touch base later this week to see how the sales numbers are looking.
You can touch base by email, call, or in person. It implies a short, focused communication.
For instance, after a conference, you might say, I'll touch base with you next week about that partnership idea.
It's a friendly, slightly casual way to say you'll reconnect without a long meeting. Next, bring to the table.
When someone asks, what can you bring to the table, they're not talking about furniture.
They mean what skills, ideas, or value can you contribute?
For example, she brings a lot to the table with her experience in digital marketing.
In team settings, this idiom often comes up when assembling a group. We need each of you to bring something unique to the table for this project: creativity, technical skill, industry knowledge, etc.
It highlights the idea that everyone's contribution matters. Here's a tougher one: throw someone under the bus.
We never want to experience this one.
As we discussed, it means to betray or sacrifice a colleague, usually to avoid blame or get ahead.
For example, I can't believe Jack blamed the error on Maria in front of the boss. He totally threw her under the bus.
It's a pretty harsh idiom, and using it indicates serious disapproval of that kind of behavior.
And in a healthy team, no one should be throwing anyone under any buses.
Instead, good teams share responsibility.
If something goes wrong, you fix it together rather than point fingers.
If you hear, I won't throw you under the bus if something goes wrong, it means I have your back.
Reassuring, right? Next, the elephant in the room.
This one paints a vivid picture. Imagine an elephant sitting in a meeting room that everyone sees but pretends is not there.
It refers to a big, obvious issue that no one wants to talk about.
For example, Let's address the elephant in the room, our recent data breach, before we talk about anything else.
A great leadership move is to acknowledge the elephant in the room because it clears the air.
It can be awkward, but it builds trust to not ignore the obvious.
So if you sense everyone is skirting around an issue, gently call out the elephant, metaphorically.
Next, by the book.
To do something by the book means to do it strictly according to the rules or official procedures.
If a manager is described as running things by the book, they're very strict about following policy.
Example, our finance department is by the book. Every expense must be documented exactly, no exceptions.
It can be good for compliance, though sometimes people use by the book to imply someone is a bit inflexible.
Knowing when to be by the book and when to be flexible can be a leadership challenge. Now, get up to speed.
When a new team member joins, you might need to get them up to speed.
It means helping them learn or catch up on what's happening quickly.
After I was out sick, I had a meeting with my colleague to get up to speed on the latest client requests.
You can ask, "Can you get me up to speed on the project?" as a polite way to request a briefing.
I love how this idiom uses a speed metaphor, like increasing your pace to match the team.
It's very commonly used when onboarding people or when something has changed and you need to inform others.
The morning briefing will get you up to speed on any overnight developments. Next, beat around the bush.
This is what not to do when clear communication is needed.
To beat around the bush means to avoid the main topic and speak indirectly.
People do this when they're nervous about the reaction or don't want to give bad news.
For example, stop beating around the bush and tell me what the issue is.
On the flip side, if you find yourself doing it, take a breath and get to the point, which leads perfectly to our next idiom, cut to the chase.
The direct counterpart to beating around the bush.
To cut to the chase means to skip unnecessary details and get straight to the main point.
In a long email chain or a meeting with too much fluff, someone might say, "Let's cut to the chase. What exactly do you need from us?"
It actually comes from old movies. Instead of long dialogue, cut to the chase scene for excitement.
In business, time is money, so cutting to the chase, politely, is appreciated when the situation calls for it.
Just be sure the context is appropriate. It can sound abrupt if used with superiors without tact.
But among peers, it's a great way to steer things back on track. Excellent! We've navigated some key communication idioms.
Now we're all on the same page about not beating around the bush. See what I did there?
If you keep your teammates in the loop and never throw them under the bus, you'll create a positive workplace vibe.
Communication is key in business, and these idioms will help you sound natural when you collaborate.
Up next, let's sharpen our strategic minds.
We'll explore idioms related to strategy, planning, and competitive moves in business.
These are the phrases that come up when discussing big ideas or game plans.
Stay with us. We'll be thinking outside the box in the next segment.
If you enjoy talking strategy or you're often in meetings about the next big idea, this segment is for you.
We're covering strategy and planning idioms, and interestingly, many of these come from sports or games.
They add great flavor when you're discussing business strategies, innovations, and problem solving.
Let's draw up the game plan.
First up, think outside the box.
A classic encouragement for creativity.
To think outside the box means to think in an unconventional or innovative way, beyond the usual boundaries.
The box represents normal thinking patterns.
You might hear, "We're facing a tough challenge. I need everyone to think outside the box for solutions."
If you suggest something wild or new, that's outside the box thinking.
Sometimes it's overused in corporate speak, but it genuinely encourages creative thinking.
So in brainstorming, don't be afraid to say, "I'm thinking outside the box here, but what if we?"
Next, low-hanging fruit.
Picture a fruit tree. The low-hanging fruit is the easiest to pick.
In business, it refers to easy wins or simple tasks that yield good results. For example, our marketing team's low-hanging fruit is improving the website SEO. It's straightforward and will quickly boost traffic.
Identifying low-hanging fruit is a great strategy early in projects.
Tackle the simple stuff first to build momentum.
Just remember, eventually you'll need to climb higher for the harder fruits. Now, ballpark figure.
When you need an estimate, not an exact number, ask for a ballpark figure.
It comes from baseball. If it's in the ballpark, it's within a reasonable range.
Example, can you give me a ballpark figure for next year's travel budget?
Maybe the answer is, sure, roughly $50,000. Not precise, but close enough to plan with.
This idiom helps avoid false precision and shows you understand the number is an approximation.
Just make sure your ballpark figure is actually in the right range.
Here's one we all love, win-win situation.
A win-win situation is an outcome where everyone involved benefits.
It's the opposite of a zero-sum game, where one wins and another loses.
In negotiations, you strive for a win-win. If we extend the contract and add maintenance services, it's a win-win. The client gets more support, and we secure their business for longer.
It's a great way to frame deals. People love scenarios where nobody loses.
Next, a hard sell.
If something is a hard sell, it will be challenging to persuade others about it.
Maybe it's an expensive product or a controversial idea.
The new policy to eliminate remote work is going to be a hard sell to employees.
It comes from sales. Some products sell themselves. Others are a hard sell, requiring lots of convincing.
If I say higher prices might be a hard sell in this economy, I mean customers will need a lot of convincing. Next up, play hardball.
This means to act aggressively or competitively to achieve your aim.
In a negotiation, if one side isn't yielding and is using tough tactics, they're playing hardball.
Example, our supplier is playing hardball. They refuse to give any discount on the bulk order.
There's a time and place for hardball, but overusing it can damage relationships.
You might hear a warning, they want to play hardball, so be prepared to walk away if needed. Now, back to the drawing board.
It means starting over after a plan fails.
For example, our first marketing concept didn't test well. It's back to the drawing board for the creative team.
It's actually an optimistic idiom. It focuses on future effort, not past mistakes.
Instead of saying, we failed, you can say, it's back to the drawing board.
Next, game changer.
A game changer is something that drastically changes the current situation.
For example, cloud computing was a game changer for small businesses.
Be careful not to label minor tweaks as game changers. Save it for truly big shifts.
But when you do find one, it's a powerful way to convey excitement and impact.
And finally for this set, hit the nail on the head.
To hit the nail on the head is to exactly identify the issue, or make a point that is precisely correct.
For example, you hit the nail on the head with that comment about customer service.
It's strong positive reinforcement and encourages clear thinking.
And with that, I think we've hit the nail on the head for our strategy idiom section.
You now know how to talk about creative thinking, outside the box, easy wins, low-hanging fruit, tough negotiations, playing hardball, and revolutionary ideas, game changers.
These phrases will help you sound savvy when you're discussing big plans or analyzing why something worked or didn't work.
We're coming close to the finish line.
Our last batch of idioms is about leadership, success, and even a bit of failure, the stuff of careers and company culture.
Some really useful ones coming up, like raising the bar and no-brainers.
Stick around for the grand finale of our 50 idioms. Our final category is all about leadership, success, and a few pitfalls to avoid.
These idioms often come up when talking about career moves, company policies, or evaluating outcomes.
They're a bit of a grab bag, but all relate to how we measure success or deal with challenges in a business context.
Let's wrap up with a strong finish.
First up, raise the bar.
When leaders raise the bar, they set higher standards or expectations.
Think of a high jump bar being lifted higher. You need to jump better to clear it.
Example, the CEO has raised the bar on customer service. Now we're expected to respond within 1 hour, not 24.
It can be motivating, though sometimes employees might sigh if the bar keeps getting raised.
You might also use it personally. Completing that certification really raised the bar for my own skills. Next,
Climb the corporate ladder.
This idiom paints a picture of career progression as climbing a ladder within an organization.
She's ambitious and wants to climb the corporate ladder quickly.
You'll hear it in career advice. To climb the corporate ladder, you often need to network and continuously improve your skills.
Sometimes it has a negative connotation if someone is too focused on advancement, but generally it's a neutral way to talk about career growth.
Next, golden handcuffs.
Golden handcuffs refer to financial incentives given to employees to make it hard for them to leave the company.
Example, the VP wants to quit, but the golden handcuffs of his stock options are keeping him there.
Companies might proudly say, "We offer golden handcuffs," to highlight great retention packages.
Whereas employees might say it ruefully, "I'm in golden handcuffs."
Now, throw in the towel.
From boxing, it means to give up or admit defeat.
Example, after trying multiple marketing strategies, we haven't increased sales. I'm not ready to throw in the towel yet, but we need to rethink our approach.
Leaders usually frame this carefully, but it's a candid way to express that sometimes ending something is the realistic decision. Next, put all your eggs in one basket.
If you put all your eggs in one basket, you risk everything on a single opportunity or idea.
Relying solely on one big client is like putting all our eggs in one basket.
It's a common way to caution against overconcentration, whether in investments or business strategy. Next, no-brainer.
A no-brainer is a decision so obvious that you don't need to think much about it. Example, accepting the fully funded research grant was a no-brainer for us. Be mindful. If others are unsure, calling it a no-brainer can sound dismissive, so use it when consensus is clear. Next, learning curve.
This refers to how difficult it is to learn something, the time or effort required.
There was a steep learning curve when I switched careers to programming, but I'm comfortable now.
As a leader, you might reassure a new employee. We know there's a learning curve, but we'll provide training. Next, corner the market.
To corner the market means to gain such a dominant position that you control most of the supply or sales.
Example, they practically cornered the market on search engines.
It's a powerful phrase to describe competitive strategy. Next, red tape.
Red tape stands for excessive bureaucracy and formal rules.
We would have finished the office renovation by now, but there's so much red tape getting city permits.
Leaders often say, "I'll handle the red tape," and teams are usually very grateful for that.
And one more, the ball is in your court. After you've taken action, the ball is in your court means it's the other party's turn to act.
Example, I've given you all the information. Now the ball is in your court.
In negotiations, we've submitted our best offer, so the ball is in their court to accept or reject.
And that idiom wraps up our list perfectly, because now the ball is in your court, listeners, to start using these idioms.
Wow, what a journey through leadership and success idioms.
You now know how to talk about raising the bar, climbing the corporate ladder, dealing with golden handcuffs, and navigating red tape, among many others.
And with that, we've reached the grand finale of our 50 business idioms you need to know.
We hope this episode gave you practical phrases you can use, whether in meetings, emails, or casual work chats.
Remember, you can always review the worksheet for a full list, examples, and practice tasks.
Thanks for learning with us, and until next time, keep raising the bar on your business English.
The ball is in your court. Happy learning, and see you in the next episode.